I mean this wholeheartedly when I say this. I am convinced at this point that Jiro is absolutely doomed. I made a video a while ago called A Buff is Coming, and basically I talked about how I felt like Jiro was bound to get some sort of buff. Well, I looked at how long I made that video ago, and it's been over 6 months at this point, give or take 6 months. And I'm convinced at this point that it's just without a doubt, he really is the worst character. Cannon's gotten recently buffed. Katars have also gotten recently buffed. So a character like Lin Fei really isn't that low, I would say, on the tier list or whatever you want to say anymore. Jiro, however, I mean, Scythe and Sword, they've stayed in like about the same spot, and they're both pretty good. It's not the weapons that are the problem. It's the fact that the stats are just so bad, man. I cannot get over how bad the stats are, and then combined with like the absolutely atrocious Scythe kit that this guy has, it doesn't really help. I mean, the Scythe kit's cool. I shouldn't say it like that, but as far as like actually being beneficial, it's kind of hard. They're all very situational, and they last super long. Like, you could pick a character like Fate, you could pick a character like Mordex, and get way more value, and the Sig is way shorter, way less committal. It just doesn't make much sense to pick Jiro. And then even when you look at Jiro's sword, he has gotten the sword buffs. That was like the last big thing that's happened with this guy. That was the last thing that's happened with this guy. And those sword buffs just felt so weird. I wanted them to do something like Koji. I want them to do something like Koji has or Val has, where say like the N-Sigs, for example, right? If you miss the move, it doesn't completely follow all the way through. And I think that would be a good thing to do on Jiro. Like, you know, with the sword N-Sig, I thought that was gonna be sword, but with the sword N-Sig, like you do that jump up, but instead of swinging the blades, you don't go all the way through. So for example, jump up, but you don't do that, right? You just do a little jump up, and if it hits, then you do it. But if it misses, it's just a freebie little jump. It makes it way less committal. It kind of fits that higher dex, you know, that higher attack speed, if you will, that he has. I mean, I don't even know with the stance I'm playing if I'm able to do the Serne or Ser True on Scythe, but either way, that's still like a situational combo. And yeah, it's just overall, it's just weird what they've done to him. They just buffed him in a fashion to where it doesn't make much sense. The same goes for the side sig and D-sig on Sword. When they buffed those sigs as well, they gave increased force. And so now you have a character that can have at most, I'm playing strength stance, but base he has 5 strength, literally average strength. And he can kill so early with those sigs. It just feels out of place. It feels like it just wasn't the change that was needed, if I'm being honest. Like, even that, I don't think that should have killed there. But it's just weird. It's weird. I wish he was more like Lin Fei. Lin Fei, I feel like fits the role very, very well. The sigs all feel overall pretty fast. I mean, you look at the Cannon kit, especially Cannon like N-Sig, and it just doesn't make sense to me why they couldn't make a change to Jiro like that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's not horrible, right? Everything's playable. I should make that clear. You still can play this guy, and it's like, just because on tier list this guy is definitely one of the worst legends in the game, he still can perform. And I'm convinced that if he did get some sort of buff, if it was the right buff, right? Not this just crazy, give him a bunch of steroids, make him the Hulk, like enforce with Sig stuff. Make him just quick, make him fast, how he's supposed to be, you know, a high dex legend. And I think you're going to see a lot more people playing this character. I'm convinced that Jiro is probably holding the most popular weapon combination in the game. I don't know his play rate or anything, but I know Mordex is one of the highest. So he already has Scythe, which definitely puts him up there in more played legends. But I do know that he could be way more played. Now, with all that being said, are there situations where I think Jiro can actually do really good? And I would have to say, yeah, I think Jiro can have a bit of an advantage if he's going up against another legend that doesn't have that much strength. Now, if you're going into like a Zol, that's obviously a death sentence. Anything with high strength is really, really punishing. I just wouldn't recommend that. Also, Lance, I think, is a big one that you can't really play into. But if you're going up against, I don't know, let's say a Lin Fei. If you're going up against a Lin Fei, I think that isn't the worst thing in the world to do. However, I still think, I would say Lin Fei is overall better than Jiro. But again, it's my opinion at the end of the day. And is this essentially a cry, a cry for help, a cry for buffs? Yeah, It definitely is, because I think this character, he's just so cool in design, and I really think he got done so dirty. I mean, there's just absolutely no reason to play him. And if he was buff, I don't even know if I would play him. Because like I said, it would have to be the right changes for sure. But the Sig kit is all super cool. It's just the execution, given the meta of Brawlhalla, I feel like it was not executed as well as it could have. At least not the release of the character, but I would say the buff that happened. I think that's just what it all goes back to for me. I'm just so annoyed that the way they changed the character. That's really it at the end of the day. But also, on a brighter note, stop talking about all this sadness over, you know, a video game character. 50k subs. Thank you guys. I'm pretty sure, at least. Hopefully by the time I wake up, I'll have 50k. I think I will. So I'll just do a little preemptive thank you. I appreciate it. My goal by the end of the year is to get to hopefully 100k. I think depending on what kind of content I release, you know, who knows what can happen. I mean, YouTube is such a volatile game that I think maybe I could hit that in a couple months. Maybe I don't hit it. Maybe I hit it at the end of the year, you know, a nice little Christmas present. Don't know. It just really depends on the climate of everything. YouTube is a crazy game. It really is, but it is definitely an enjoyable one. Wouldn't really be doing anything else, or wouldn't rather do anything else than this. I will say in Scythe Dittos, I think Jiro honestly might be one of the better legends to play, and that's because he has that Ser true. I think Volkov also can get that true, but I feel like it's a lot more situational. So I think that's actually something that really, really benefits him in that Ditto. Plus, if you mess up, you have Sword to rely on, which is very, very nice. I mean, I can't really imagine because no one plays him. If Jiro was played by more people, I guarantee you, like, it would be a bunch of every swordman would be on this character. That's what I think. I think every swordman in existence would be on this character, at least trying the character out, because it is so worth a shot. It's a sword character with Scythe. I mean, what else do you want? What do you guys think of this map, by the way? I think this map is interesting. I don't think it's anything super crazy. I mean, you know, it's a stage with 2 platforms on the side. Not really in the game yet, which I'm surprised. But at the same time, I don't think I'd really go to this stage much. Maybe I would, because the platforms aren't really in the way. I feel like that's a big thing I don't like, is that the platforms tend to be in the way a lot of the time. So this change of pace would actually be kind of nice. Oh yeah, by the way, on Jiro's sword, I know this much. You can do D-Light. I think it's, was it D-Light Ensig? I don't know if it's true or if it's like a tight window. I think it's 1 frame at lowest. I feel like I've seen it true though. So I don't want to say it is without knowing for sure, but I know I can get it to 1 frame. So, you know, he has something unique. He has some sort of option that's kind of cool. But this matchup, I feel like it just feels horrible. Like, it should be, honestly, it should be maybe like about even, because Ambaraza, like Scythe and Sword, are so good at like getting in on the character, and he's a lot slower than Jiro. But at the same time, I mean, it just takes a couple hits from each of his weapons, and then 1 decently placed Sig, and I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna absolutely have no chance of coming back, just like that. Honestly, in a matchup here, I don't know what I'd rather play. I don't know if it's better to play Scythe into the Barraza, or if it's better to play... Oh, if it's better to play Sword. I feel like both have their benefits. Sword's definitely the easier one, but at the same time, Scythe, I mean, you get guns off stage, and I feel like it's very, 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 very good for Scythe, because Scythe, you know, Scythe is the best offstage weapon. I mean, I don't care. I don't care anymore. People can say gauntlets, people can say this, that. Scythe is just so good offstage. You get 3 hits and they can die. I mean, sure, gauntlets are probably a close second. Maybe there's some other weapons too, but Scythe is literally built differently. I mean, it straight up has something that the other weapons don't, which is active input. Orb's got the wall bounce. I should mention that, but... Oh, I'm gonna kill him with the recovery. Yeah, I think this map is actually deceivingly... The ceiling's deceivingly low. I think a lot of the times people play this map and they feel like the ceiling's a lot higher, but that just might just be me. Because it's pretty much like as soon as you go off the top, there's no magnifying glass. You just instantly die. There you have it. That was an interesting option that this guy took. I think sometimes wake-ups on Axe are really strange. Oh. Alright. Axe Cider. Not a fan. Not gonna lie. Who'd have thought this? Someone not being a fan of Axe, right? I've never enjoyed Axe. Playing it or playing against it. Although I will say, given I do play a lot of gauntlets, it is one of the easier matchups usually. But it doesn't take it away from being quite annoying. Like getting hit by a Sair and the Sair literally hits you behind. It's just not a good look. All right, we're gonna finish this guy off. What do we hit him with? Come on. Oh, I mean, he's gonna go for Sidelight Nair. I'm gonna take 30 plus damage because of it. Nope, he didn't fall for it. I thought he might, but either way, he's gonna give me the weapon. All it takes is one Sig. That is, okay, that is a nice thing. I mean, with Jiro. Okay, I don't kill there, but it's like, now I just need to touch him with one Sig. However, the Sigs aren't necessarily the most risk-free thing in the world, right? That is the downside. Aside from that, you know, anything that's risk-free is automatically pretty good, which that is that Sig. He's gonna go for it again, so let's just take him out. All right, so that crosses off the monthly Jiro video. I appreciate everyone who's helped me get 50,000 subscribers. It's pretty crazy, honestly, but I am looking to get that number to 100K before the end of the year. That is my one really big goal, I will say. So if you guys haven't subbed yet, make sure you do that, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.